What is going on? What is going on, everybody? This is Nicodemus, the king of indies himself, and this is episode 9 of the Trophy Life podcast, your premier podcast for all things PlayStation, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a great show for you guys. As you can see in the title, we will be talking about the illustrious future of gaming in the PlayStation 5. So before we get started, before we get any further into the show, I want to introduce our other host. Let's go with my main man, the British Beef. What's good, sir?
Yo, Nick. Yo, Tick Nation. What up, Kev, as well? Hello, everybody. Let's get rocking.
That's a hell of an intro, sir.
Man, first we're going to rock, and then we're going to roll, and then we're going to go, and we're going to go let it go. X, go give it to you.
Damn. Can you say copyright strike?
Can I what?
Can you say copyright strike, sir?
No. I don't think DMX has got anything to worry with my rapping ability. So,
is DMX even still alive?
I have no idea.
Oh yes.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. DMX is still alive.
Okay. God bless you, DMX. So let's give my man Kev do his intro right quick.
Well, we're all still alive after Nick's blaspheming with Judas a second ago. So, considering that a big day,
we haven't been struck by lightning. We're all good.
I'm still watching the sky, but I'm all right for now.
Yeah, I don't think I want to repeat it because people might get offended. But yeah, it was pretty blasphemous. I'm a bad boy. I'm a bad guy. What's up, everybody? Yeah, I probably will, especially if there's PlayStation down there. So, what's up, everybody who is joining right now? Shout out to everybody. I'm gonna give shout outs by name for the early birds up in here, man. What is up, damn good? That's a damn good name. What's going on? Oh, this is just you. What's going on, Chris Cobra?
The boy.
What is good? What is good? The creepy bunny is in the building. What's happening? So these are the early adopters who have decided to say hello in the chat. And don't be scared to say hello in the chat on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? We do acknowledge you as human beings in this podcast. So before we get really going with this thing, I want to highlight this week's PlayStation games that have been released, the notable ones anyway. And we were kind of talking about it, looking at the PlayStation blog. Honestly, there's really, from what I see, you guys can disagree. From what I see, there's only like one notable game that has released this week, and that is Prey. Is there any other games that you guys seen that has released that you want to shout out?
No.
The jury is out.
Straight cricket.
Spoken.
Straight crickets. There's literally hardly I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover, but I scroll down that list and yeah, Prey's the only one that I see that I'm interested in. So Prey did release officially today, correct?
No, I don't think it's is it today?
It should be, because you guys get it on a Tuesday and we get it on a Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So yeah, Prey did release today, and let's go ahead and get into that. Since I mentioned Prey, let's just get into that real quick.
Well, actually, before you do that,
what's that?
For notable games, anybody who's a fan of the Neo Geo collections, there's ACA Neo Geo Last Resort. I know that's like a cult classic type of thing. Just a shout out for that, and Dreamfall Chapters. Folks who are a fan of that, I think that was originally on the PC. Yeah,
I did read a little bit about Dreamfall Chapters. It's like in parallel universes or something.
Yeah.
Like the future or in the past at the same time. I don't know. I'm just talking trash right now. I obviously was not that interested in it, but if you're interested in those games, check out the PlayStation blog. They did release some games, not not a lot this week. So as far as Prey goes, we did play the demo. And so I want to give our impressions of the demo before we move on. And let us know in the comments or the chat, if you liked the demo, what you liked and didn't like about it. So, Chris, Did you play the demo, sir?
Yes, I did, sir. I have to say, I really, really like the opening sequence. Sequence? Would you call it a sequence? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can
Let's
call
call
it
it that then. Yeah.
let's call it that.
Yeah, let's call it that. So I really enjoyed that first bit. The music I thought was really cool. I liked the way like the name of the studio and stuff was coming up in the building, so it looked like adverts on the buildings and things like that. I just thought that was fantastic. That was really original. And then I started playing it, and I was a bit like, oh, this. I was Anchor that put it wonderfully, where he said it was like a love child between like Dishonored and BioShock. And I was like, yeah, it really does feel like that. And I thought it was all right. But I have to say, I really enjoyed that first bit until it kind of went a bit crazy. And then I know, Nick, you were having fun with the choices that they give you, the tests.
Yeah, that was a very interesting part of the game. I was like making all the bad decisions, man, because I was being real selfish. Like one of the questions was like, if a train was, huh? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I know it. That's not like me at all. I know. I'm just like the most selfless guy in the world. I mean, I care about people. We all know this, but man,
so you
would
have sacrificed yourself instead of the fat guy?
Hell no. No. Hell no. No. Every chance I got to throw the fat guy in front of the train, that's what I did. Put it out there. Every chance I got, man. Even when they didn't call for throwing him in front of the train, I said, I'm throwing him in front of the train, man. It was like, would you jump in front of the train or would you throw the fat guy in front of the train? It was like, question like, if the train was headed towards 5 people, would you sacrifice them for the one and vice versa? I'm like, these are crazy ethical questions, and I'm pretty sure I failed at all of them. You know what I didn't like? What I did not like in this demo is when you're being scrutinized and tested and stuff. Those scientists make you feel stupid. I didn't like that. Like when I did the simplest basic of shit, it's like they looking at me like, huh? What? Like they were like making comments and expressions like, okay, that was disappointing. I'm like, you basically just asked me to jump over a pillar and touch a button. Like, what's disappointing about that? I did that perfectly. Like,
don't worry, Nick. They thought we were all disappointing. It wasn't just you.
And then it was like,
unless they named you. Nick, come on.
There's one part, dog. There's one part. It was like hide. It had asked you to hide in the room. So my dumbass, I picked up the chair by mistake that I was gonna hide behind. And I could not put that damn thing back down to the where I could hide behind it. So you know what my dumbass did? After 5 minutes of throwing the chair around the room to try to get it to be placed back to where I could hide behind it, which was the most logical choice, right? It wouldn't go back. So I decided to hide on the right side of the room behind the glass panel. So I'm sitting there hiding behind there, and they're looking at me with eyes, and they didn't say anything, but their eyes said it all. You complete dumbass. Like, I was like, what do you want? I couldn't do anything else.
You broke under the pressure. That's what it was. You couldn't hack it, so you just started throwing the chair around, and then
I didn't even
hide in the corner.
I didn't mean to pick up the stupid chair, man.
Well, I didn't like the gun. I didn't like the gun that you picked up, where you kind of foam things, don't you? And you kind of freeze them. I was like, well, I'm not sold on that. Nah.
Yeah, the foam gun. So what's cool about that though is that you can use it to get to higher areas, and like you can build like platforms and stuff. So that's the cool thing about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that's the cool thing about it. But you know, yeah, it was pretty weird, like trying to shoot it at enemies and stuff. But it's really just like a deterrent, you know, to try to get some space between you and them, and then also to, you know, freeze them. Obviously, you know, you shoot them with that, it'll freeze them, and you can go over there just hit them with your wrench. So, I mean, yeah, it was a little awkward. I was actually glad when I got the freaking shotgun. I was glad when I got that. That thing was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That thing was pretty cool. But what were your dislikes, Chris? Did you mention any dislikes for it?
It was really just that gun, really. I think for me, I liked it a lot, but I literally just played the demo for Dishonored 2, and it felt incredibly similar. I know it's made from the same studio.
It is.
When, like I said, when Anchor said that it was a love child of it, I was like, yeah, that's a really good shout. That and BioShock, it really had the feel of those two games. But I mean, those two games are pretty cool, so I can understand why they did it like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm gonna get my likes out the way real quick. So I do like the art style, like the graphics. I did like the mystery because even in this short demo, it teased you enough and it gave you enough to pique your interest. So I did like that. Like at the end of the demo, I don't want to spoil anything, but at the end of the demo, it gets to a point where it tells you to go to a certain area and it leaves such a cliffhanger, like you want to know what's happening next. And you go to that area and it said you have to basically unlock the full game or buy the full game to get here. Like this area is not available in the demo. And I was like disappointed, dog. I was like, oh man, now I legit want this game because I want to know what happens now. So it was cool. It was a really well done demo. The only dislike I got really is that it is kind of like too much like what to call it, BioShock. Now the Dishonor part of it, I do see that, but let me just say this: I'm about to speak some blasphemy right now to everybody. I didn't really like Dishonored. I tried it. I really did. Dog, listen to me. Before you guys crucify me, listen to me. I tried Dishonored. I tried playing it, and I could not get through it. It was like one of those games where I would pick it up at night, and I'm like, what am I doing with her? What am I doing with this game? Like, it didn't captivate me at all, no matter how much I tried. I don't know if it was the stealth stuff. I don't know what it was. It didn't perform badly. It didn't captivate me to make me want to play it. So
there wasn't enough blindfolded, bare-cheeked women in it. Is that what it is?
Nah.
Kev, what do you think of the game?
So first, I'm gonna echo Nick's blasphemy there. I did not like Dishonored 2 either, or well, I don't like Dishonored, period. And that's not because of the story elements. I really wanted to like the game. It's specifically how it played always felt slightly off to me. And I don't know what it was. I feel like it was the movement. And I don't know whether it was the fact that in Dishonored, like when you walk, you are aware of the footsteps that are being taken. But like something about it threw me off just enough that I was like, I can't do this. And I got that same feeling with Prey because I feel like it handles very much like Dishonored. Now, having said that, I was able to put up with that a little more because I have been pumped for Prey for a while. That's really, if anything was a dislike, that's the biggest dislike for me. It's specifically how it handles.
Kev, it's interesting you say that because there's been a lot of talk about how there's quite a lot of lag on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
So the input lag.
Right.
So that's maybe where the controls are feeling a little bit like that. And I always felt that was a little bit the same with Dishonored. There was quite a bit of lag with it.
Yeah, and I do think it's very much so. My dislike for Dishonored is solely in the way that your character moves. Because I couldn't get through Dishonored either, and it was specifically because of that. I enjoyed the story up until what I played, but I just couldn't get around that actual movement mechanic. It just didn't feel right. And thus made it just completely awkward and almost stressful to play because I didn't feel like I had full control. But so I echo that feeling back to Prey, which is why I brought it up. But for pros, I did enjoy that opening sequence. Opening sequence was really cool. I like the mechanics in the game. So like in terms of using the gun to the glue gun or whatever you want to call it, to not only slow down enemies, but then you can use it to build platforms and to use it as a way to maneuver. I think it really makes you think on your feet. And I like that. Again, the downside to that is I feel like the way that it handles almost is it's counterintuitive to that mechanic. So that's a little unfortunate. I like the whole structure of the powers, and this is going a little beyond the demo, so I apologize in advance. But I like the structure of the powers where it is very much so you're picking your poison. So you either go down the straight-laced human path, or you go down this path where you slowly become more alien, and how that plays and gives certain repercussions for your actions later on down the road, and how the world interacts with you changes down the road because of that. So I really like that mechanic, and I think it adds a twist onto how folks build their characters and how they want to end up interacting later on in the game. Because again, having those going down that alien path has a certain set of negative ramifications for you and positive ramifications in the same way that going down the human path does. I guess my hope is that that branching path doesn't cause like a Bioshock syndrome of going down one path makes the game substantially more easy than going down another. But again, that's haven't seen that yet. So
yeah,
it's
interesting. It'd be interesting to see whether I guess all paths will lead to like the one ending.
Yeah.
Or whether the ending's different as well, things like that. Because that's always the thing, isn't it? People say about the game, so I do all these different choices, but then at the end of the day, they just funnel me down the same path to the same ending. So it'd be interesting to see if they kind of even throw in like a different ending for it.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see that too. But I see that, like, to me, I really like this game, at least what I've played of it from the demo. Bar the movement mechanic. I think there are a lot of clever systems in the game. I mean, from picking up different items around you and being able to recycle those to create new ones, the little hints of lore that are in different modules or emails that you're looking through, being able to just those little snippets and little portions of things that are built into the game to build the culmination of this expansive, what we would assume an expansive universe, is really, really cool. And I mean, frankly, it's a Bethesda way to do things, but I like that aspect of it.
So a day one purchase for you then, Kev?
If I had more money and didn't spend it on Mario Kart 8, then I would get Prey.
Yo, you on that Mario Kart?
Yeah, I got Mario Kart 8 and a Pro Controller on Friday.
Yo, you want to hear something funny? You want to hear something funny about Mario Kart?
What?
So, BG, who was on here last week, if you guys remember BG, he tweeted out something. He's like, because people don't got voice chat on the Switch, they got to go to Twitter just to talk trash to each other about Mario Kart because they can't talk to each other on the Switch.
That's actually really funny. I've actually been enjoying that aspect only because, like,
that you can't talk to people you're competing with.
Yeah, well, more so because they're like 5-year-olds yelling every type of expletive they can look up. And it's like I'm playing co-op here with my fiance, and she just wants to have a good time. She doesn't want to have a 5-year-old yelling at her. So, like, I've been enjoying that aspect.
Call of Duty for that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, not to segue off of Prey, but
yeah, nah, that's just funny. So yeah, Prey, I think the consensus is that it is has got potential. Seems to be a overall good game. Just like every game, there's likes and dislikes, but I'm not going to get it right away because two things: money and time. I don't have either one right now, so I'm not going to get it right away. But it is something I'm going to keep on my radar. I'm going to get a little later on. So before we go into the meat and potatoes, we got a couple of news stories for you guys. So Chris, the British Beef, we got a VR update, a PSVR update, man. Blow the dust off that PSVR, ladies and gentlemen, because there is some news about PSVR. Finally, the gaming gods have bestowed upon us some news about the PSVR. What have they given us, Chris?
Well, for you guys in the States and in Canada, it's good news. They've got them all back in stock now, supposedly. So it's good news for you. So poor Undead can finally spend many thousands of pounds on getting himself a VR, or thousands of dollars, should I say, in a VR headset. And also that they're bringing VR to Tekken, which sounds amazing, but looks pretty bad. It's like you're controlling these two little figures from a distance. And you're able to look around the level, and that's about it. Pretty much, if anyone's played any pinball games, they know that that's the same sort of thing. So yeah, don't get your hopes up, folks. Sorry to say.
So disappointing. When I saw that, man, like you told me about it, I was like, let me check this out because I don't care about VR, but let me check this out. And I saw that, man, I was like, dude, it's not even like immersive like that. Like it's like you said, it looks like a pinball. Like it's
the equivalent of just hitting the right stick. I mean, just like looking round. It's pretty bad. So bless VR. Come on, keep going. You can do it.
Here's the funny thing though, everybody. Here's the funny thing. Like they say that there's PSVR available out once again in a while. And on the PlayStation blog, I kid you not, they had like 5 or 6 games that they said are coming for like the rest of the year. Like I'm like, dog, this thing is like extra sparse right now. Like there's like literally nothing. Like they got Farpoint and then a few other games throughout the year. Like I swear, like 6 or 7 games coming out for the whole year for this thing. Like I don't get it, man. Like Sony with this VR stuff, man, it was a good idea and stuff, man. But it's just disappointing. It's just complete disappointment right now.
We were talking beforehand about how some indie games just don't put any advertising. The VR games, you just don't advertise them. Like they're just out. All of a sudden, like the games are released for a week, and there's this game that you can play, and you're like, I haven't heard anything about this. It just appears out of thin air, and you're like, okay, well, if they gave this a bit of exposure, then it might be all right. It might do it some good. But at the moment, there's just nothing. There's no. I mean, Farpoint might change that, but hopefully this weekend I'm going to get a chance to play Resident Evil VR. So.
Okay. You finally gonna get into that?
I will report back to you. Hopefully, I haven't died of shock or something like that. Or just lost in some sort of realm in it.
Let's hope you don't get a heart attack from that crap. I hate junk like that, man. Like I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it.
Well, my good friend who I'm borrowing the game off, he said to me, just wait until you face the father of the family. He said because he like jumps out of walls and things like that and comes right up to your face, and same with like the woman Marguerite as well. And I can't wait. I'm absolutely can't wait. I mean, I'm seriously looking forward to it. I know that Anchor and Cal have got a bet about the price of the Scorpio, and I know that part of Cal's thing, if he loses, he's got to play Alien Isolation. I think he's got to play Resident Evil in VR. I think that would be awesome as well. But even like Because one of the biggest problems with VR is that the one thing that I think they could have really sold it on is that they did a tech demo. I don't know if it was with PlayStation, but I know definitely with Oculus, of Alien Isolation in VR. And supposedly it was just the greatest thing, because you look up and the alien's huge. He's 8 feet tall, however tall they are. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen a stream of them playing PSVR, Alien Isolation, but I think the standard game will be funny enough.
You want to
see the bet?
Do you want to see a black man just take a dump on himself? Just put a VR headset on me with Resident Evil 7, and within the first 10 minutes, I swear I'm going to take a soft shit on myself, and it is going to trickle down my pants. And I swear, bro,
easy with the description.
This got really visceral really quickly.
I can't handle stuff like that, man. More power to y'all. But let's move on from the dookie and get into some PS Plus games, which are normally dookie. But this month not that bad. This month not that bad, in my humble yet often correct opinion. So the PS Plus games, ladies and gentlemen, from May are Tales of the Borderland. I'm hearing it's the full collection, which is pretty dope. And then also you got Abzu, and this is PS4 games. Abzu, and weird thing is, Chris pointed this out, weird thing is that in the UK, you're going to get Alienation instead of Abzu, which normally they don't stray away, or they're not different from the American or the US games. So that's weird that they're doing it like this month. But so PS4, Tales of the Borderlands, and Abzu. So what does everybody think? Everybody in the comments, let us know too. In the chat, let us know. What do you think about the PS Plus games for May? Because we all know that PS Plus games usually are quote unquote trash. Some months I think it's exaggerated. Other months I think they are total trash. What do y'all guys think about this month? Kev, what do you think about this month's selection, sir?
I think it's a very solid one this month. Just get ready for another 3 months of nothing, because that's often how it goes, unfortunately. But I'm glad that they didn't get stingy and say, here's the Borderlands episode 1. I'm glad they decided to do the full 5 episodes in one thing, because that would have been very aggravating, and just really a greedy move at that point.
Yeah.
And Abzu is, from what I've heard, is great. I mean, it's essentially Journey underwater as opposed to in a desert. So have fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great, runs great. So I don't think we had a bad pick this month. Just like I said, brace yourself for the next few months of nothing.
Yo, you already know the king of indies himself did in fact play Abzu. I played that thing twice, and I can definitely let you guys know that game is worth picking up, especially for the free. If you're a PS Plus member, play that, because Kev gave the perfect description for Abzu. It is basically Journey underwater, but obviously it's a whole new level of beauty, majesty, intrigue, mystery that Journey brought, but this time it is underwater. So make sure you guys, check that out. I do recommend Abzu. I also recommend Alienation, which is coming to UK. The king himself has also played Alienation, brought to you by House Smart Games in the building. Shout out to House Smart Games for bringing nothing but that top-down greatness. So Alienation co-op up to 4 players, man, get in that thing for the free in the UK. Let me start with Chris before he gives his impressions. Have either you played the Tales of the Borderlands at all, or is this gonna be something new?
Do you know, it's really interesting. I adore the Borderlands games, and I really enjoy Telltale games. So it's really strange that I haven't played it yet. And the fact that it's free this month, I am absolutely delighted. I can't wait to get into it.
Nice. I never played it either.
Yeah, I've seen streams of it being played. And from reception of it, it's gotten pretty good reception. It seems as though they took on a few of the writers from the actual Borderlands team. So it's not as if it's just, Telltale pulling a story out of nothing. It's very much so rooted in the Borderlands universe. So seems like it's gotten really good praise, and I mean, these games are fun to play for the most part, despite their lack of a good engine and refusal to update it. But
the refusal, the absolute refusal to update that damn engine.
Yeah. But like, other than that, from what I've seen, it's been reviewed very well. So people should be excited.
Dope. So no problem. No problem with this selection.
Nope.
No, not for me. I was just gonna say I'm really pleased to get a chance to play Alien Nation. Obviously, once we finished interviewing House Marquee, I was looking up some of their games, and that was definitely one of the ones I'd kind of earmarked to purchase. So I'm really pleased that it's kind of come for free. But I was also going to say that, just talking about the Telltale games, I managed to have a quick go with the game called Late Shift, which is like a live action version of it.
Yeah.
It's all right. The acting is okay, shall we say? But it's an interesting way to do it. They kind of just give you two options, maybe three, and it seems pretty seamless. So I don't know whether that's something that maybe Telltale will look at in the future. Probably not, but it's just an interesting, different way of doing that format of game. I'll keep you posted on what I think of once I've completed it, which I don't think would take very long.
Yeah, appreciate that, because I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole, but it does look interesting.
Yeah, I think if it goes super cheap, I think it's worth having a look at, just from a technical point of a game, how that game works, and it seems quite seamless when you make your decision. It seems to be there's not like a stutter, so it doesn't feel like it's kind of loading into that decision. So like I said, just it'd be good, like if it came out on free, it's one of those ones, or if it's cheap in a sale, I'd say have a look at it, but don't get your hopes up.
That's what's up. Speaking of hopes and dreams, let's talk about some sales, some video game sales this week on the PS4, PS3, and Vita. So we have what's called the Golden Week sale. Shout out to the Japanese, my Japanese brothers and sisters out there celebrating a national holiday, and we reap the benefits of this holiday because we get some cheap ass games, ladies and gentlemen. So if you go to the PlayStation Store, I believe this is live right now, man, you're gonna see a whole lot of Japanese games that are very, very cheap right now. For example, one of my favorite games of the year, of the generation, Nier Automata, is only $40 right now with a PS Plus subscription. So, if you're not on Nier, I'm preaching this gospel every single week, every time I talk. If you're not on Nier Automata, you need to get on this game, especially at $40. I'm just saying, bro. Also, they got Gravity Rush 2, the likes of Gravity Rush 2 on there for sale, Fury, and a whole lot more. So, I know we all love Japanese games here on the PlayStation side of things. So definitely go out and support these games and try them out and stuff. Is there any games on that list that you guys saw that you want to shout out real quick before we move on?
The Naruto Ninja Storm 4 series. Okay. I mean, there's an Ultimate Collection coming out soon, so you may not want to buy it. But if you just can't wait, it's for sale for $15, I think, on the store. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that sale is dope. Any games you want to shout out, Chris, that you saw that you want to get?
Oh man, unfortunately the sale is not available in the UK yet.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say yet, because most of the sales appear on a Wednesday afternoon. So
right.
So in the UK. So I don't know yet is the quick answer. So
gotcha.
Probably, man. I think, Nick, you finally sold me on Nier. I think I'll be getting that.
man, if you get that sale, for less than 60, it's definitely worth it, man. It's highway robbery for you guys not to buy it.
Highway robbery.
That's like an insult not to buy that game at $40, man. So let's get on to speaking of great games, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about Call of Duty World at War 2, which is a PlayStation exclusive.
Let's not start that.
For 30
Let's
days.
not start that war.
Which is a PlayStation 4.
That's WWE all getting ready.
Which has timed exclusive content exclusively to the PS4. But yeah, Call of Duty World at War 2, man. So I would say right off the bat, yeah, they're bringing it back to the boots on the ground. For those of you, who've been sleeping under a rock who have not seen this trailer, bringing it back to boots on the ground is being brought to us by Sledgehammer this time around. And I mean, so far to me, it looks pretty good overall. I mean, it doesn't like get my heart pumping, excited or anything like that because it's not really doing anything new from what I see that gets me like excited, especially for a first-person shooter. Like, I'm not really like the type of person that just loves first-person shooters anyway. I feel like they're stale. There's not much more they can do to interest me, no matter really what they do. At least they haven't proven themselves to me in quite some time. So I don't really get like super hype of it. But it was cool to see that they're bringing it back like a lot of people wanted. I mean, even when you look at the YouTube video, the likes versus dislike ratio is, I mean, it's much, much better than last year, man.
That is literally the first thing I did after the trailer was out in the wild was start watching the like and dislike ratio because of what happened last year.
Yeah, that's the first thing I looked at too, man. And like, it's doing all right now. It's like at over 20,000 likes. If you look on the PlayStation YouTube channel, it's like over 20,000 likes and only like 1,000 something dislikes. So yeah, that's much better than 1 million dislikes versus like 2 likes like last year.
Yeah,
it was a shame really because I thought Infinite Warfare was pretty good, but I guess I was on my own with that one.
Oh, you actually.
I'm sure it was good. It's just I think the majority of players didn't want it. I think it was going too far up the sci-fi alley, and they don't necessarily care about that.
Yeah, I think when Nick said that it's first-person shooters a bit stale, I think that kind of style of first-person shooter was getting a bit stale as well. And I don't know whether the fact that I'm now kind of heading towards my mid-30s, but. Damn, that game's fast. Can we just slow it down a little bit? I'm old. My reactions ain't what they were. So I played that game, like the multiplayer, and I just thought, nope. I just don't have quick enough reactions. So I'm the old guy running around with looking in the skies with this shotgun. That's me. So.
Here's my problem with like the games like that. Like, I don't got a problem with the speed or anything like that, but like. My problem is that with games like that is like basically every man for himself all the time. I mean, if you form a team and you guys practice, get good or whatever like that, then it's different, I'm sure. But most of the time when you get online and you play, you're pretty much on your own and you just running around, running and gunning. There's really no teamwork, and also everybody doesn't get to play to their strengths. Like, everybody's expected to get the most kills, and if you don't get the most kills, no matter what game type you play, I don't care if you're playing domination, I don't care if you're playing whatever, if you're not getting the most kills, you're not doing good, you're not contributing, you know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody can't get the most kills. Like, people who like get assists and stuff like that, they're contributing to the kill. I know it sounds like real scrubbish to say that, but people who get assists, they're contributing to you getting a kill. Like, it's teamwork, and you don't see teamwork in those types of games. And that's why I don't like them and I stay away from them, because it's like, what's the point to me? It's not really fun,
Just interesting that you say that, because I remember going from playing Call of Duty quite a lot to playing Destiny, and the capture the flag, I was like top of the leaderboards, and I couldn't figure out why. And actually, what it was is that I was actually capturing the flag rather than just going around trying to kill people. That's the biggest, like you said, that's the biggest problem with Call of Duty, is that you can go around and you can be the guy who's capturing the flags, and you're at bottom of the table, and you think, well, what's the point in capturing the flag if I come bottom of the table? And I couldn't believe it when I played Destiny. I was like, damn, this is actually, I'm top of the leaderboard because I'm capturing the flag. And
yeah.
it made no sense to me. No said.
You got to play the objective.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that sometimes you can play those games and the objective doesn't matter. It's just about how many kills you can get.
Right.
Well, that's why I respect the Battlefield series a lot more, mainly because there is that emphasis on, even if you go in solo into a group, there is this emphasis of you cannot win this game unless you play the objective. So it forces you and your teammates, regardless of whether you play together normally or this is the first time you're in a group together, to play that objective and to try to do well.
Battlefield's the one where you have classes as well, isn't it? So you can be like a medic and things like that. I like that as well. That's a good idea. So it's not all about who's the top gunner.
Right. And you play to your strengths. I mean, I love playing a sniper class in there because sniping is so solid in Battlefield 1. But I couldn't play, an engineer class to save my life, or a pilot. Don't put me in a plane in there. I will crash every single time. So
that's funny, dog. Yeah, I mean, multiplayer games to me just overrated in general. But Call of Duty though, like I like the direction that they're going, and I think World War II does have some, great possibilities and stuff. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna get it just because I would only probably play the campaign and maybe a couple of weeks of multiplayer before I get tired of it. That's just usually the trend when it comes to Call of Duty. So I'm gonna save myself the trouble this year. But what is cool as far as the single player goes, one of the features is that there won't be any health generation regen. So there won't be no automatic regen. You basically have to get a health pack or something in order to regen. So that's pretty cool. They're making it a little tougher. They're trying to switch it up a little bit. So, I mean, that was interesting to hear. Usually, Call of Duty campaigns, I mean, all you got to do is sit behind the wall and wait for your energy to come back up. Mm-hmm. But that's cool that they're doing that. They are, I do commend them because they are trying to, do a little something different, shake it up a bit. And they did listen to the fans and bring it back to the quote unquote boots on the ground. So I do commend them for that this year. So
can I say I watched that reveal stream and I hated the amount of times they used that term boots on the ground. It was just like I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to drive that point home, but you drove it home the first 3 times you said it instead of, the 50 times you said it over the course of the 25-minute presentation. It just seemed like I think my biggest problem with it is not the game itself. I think it's great that they're finally listening to the fans and they are bringing it back to grounded warfare, as opposed to what they introduced a few games ago, where instead of having your average one level areas and you have different lanes you go through, they added the verticality, right? That was their thing to switch up gameplay, and then they just took it way too far. And they're bringing it back down to this grounded warfare, which I think is absolutely great. I think it's if that's what the fans want, then they should do that. However, I have a different sense of the game versus the Battlefield 1 reveal, because I think it's partly because Battlefield wasn't trying to, or at least it didn't seem like they were trying to chase a specific market or a specific crowd. They were just like, here's the game. The presentation to me just seemed really forced, because they know that they've lost a lot of ground with people and they're trying very hard to drive the point home. So it seemed almost gimmicky to me, which put me off of any type of oh, this could be interesting. I just feel like it was very forced and not really genuine when, they're saying things like, well, we want to make sure that we're, this is our most historically ambitious game yet. But then you keep on saying this is back to the boots to the ground warfare, and then you're showing soldiers shooting themselves in the face. It all seemed kind of you're doing too much. You should have just put the trailer out and called it a day. But that's just my own personal thing. That's not necessarily reflective on them. It's my own personal tick.
Yeah, I feel like their backs were against the wall, and they felt like they really had to drive that point home. But yeah, I agree. They kind of overdid it. But they just want to make sure people do understand that they were listening.
Right, and like I totally get that. It's just like, it's not like this is the only opportunity you're going to show this game. Like, you're going to show it in a month's time at E3. You're going to show it leading up to your Call of Duty Experience event in September. You're going to show a slew of promotional material in October before you release the game in November. You know, like, so it's just like, they'll get it by then. Everybody will get it. You didn't just want to make the point home now.
The reveal was they were just trying to spell it out, weren't they? Really, they were just like, we're simple gamers. Explain it to us really simple.
It gave me the feel almost of the PlayStation 4 Pro conference, where it was just like this awkward thing of like, this is something that could have been done in a trailer instead of killing me slowly with Mark Cerny talking about stuff that nobody here cares about
or understands.
I cared about it.
Well, I'm sure Mark Cerny will be happy to hear that, along with Knack too. But
when Mark Cerny speaks, you listen, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Cerny is the truth.
But yeah, I mean that's just specifically that those were the vibes that it was giving me. Yeah, it's like, you didn't need to go that far.
Yeah, I feel you. So let's move on real quick. So Call of Duty World at War 2 is coming exclusively to the PlayStation 4. So
Call of Duty World at War 2.
Yeah, Call of Duty World at War 2. Is coming exclusively to the PlayStation 4 this holiday season, so be on the lookout for that.
You're gonna see that in the comments.
Go buy your PS4s now if you want to play Call of Duty, everybody. All right, now I'm playing. It's coming to all platforms. Just joking. Don't scrutinize me, man. Leave the light-skinned man alone. I'm just joking. So speaking of PlayStation. So this has been a really good year for PlayStation. So there's been a report. I checked this out from theverge.com if you guys want to check it out. But PlayStation 4 sales are extremely high. They basically have had their best fiscal year ever, shipping like 20 million consoles as of like March. So, PlayStation is really, really like still selling like hotcakes. Like, what is this, 4 years into the generation we're at right now? This is the 4th year, right? Yeah. So like,
Fifth.
This thing,
fourth.
No, this is the 4th. Yeah. So like
fourth.
This, number 4, PlayStation 4. Yeah. We here. This thing not slowing down though, man. It's basically still outpacing the PS2 right now, which. In comparison, sold 71 million after 4 years. So, by the end of this year, it will have sold more than the PS2 in its first 4 years. So, definitely good news for PlayStation as a company, Sony as a company, because as we know, Sony as a company isn't really doing well. People like to say Sony's going bankrupt and all this stuff, but the PlayStation, the gaming division, is holding it down. The gaming division is making the most money, I believe, right now out of every single thing, even movies, even Sony Pictures. Like, the PlayStation division needs to be celebrated, because not only this is successful for PlayStation and Sony in general, but also it's successful like as far as gaming goes, because a gaming division in a corporation usually isn't the number one seller. Like, let's look at just Microsoft. Not to pick on them, but Microsoft, their number one selling thing, the thing they're banking on is not the gaming division, fam. Let's just be honest. So, for PlayStation to come to this level and sell this well and do this well and be received this well to where it's holding down a whole company, that's pretty impressive, and I think gamers should, just celebrate that regardless of what platform you're on. That's a success for gaming. You know what I'm saying? So definitely big, great news that they're doing this well. So what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this PlayStation greatness out here selling like hotcakes? And constantly selling like hotcakes. Like,
I tell you what, that number is very impressive, to the point where I think that we, as a group, should all do a bit of a Friday. That the film. You guys must know the film Friday. The Dam. Are we ready? We were going to do the Dam after count of 3. Come on, come with me. So 3, 2, 1. Damn! There we go. That's for the numbers. That's my comment on the numbers. That's all it needs.
That's what's up. Kev, you're the smart one. What is your analysis of these numbers, sir? Break it down in the most theoretical, analytical terms you could possibly do. Like, use the biggest words you can muster out of your brain, which is the size of a horse.
If my head is the size of a horse, we have a lot of problems that need to be addressed. Like, probably I need to go to the hospital. I need to get some surgeons. I don't.
Kev, why the long face?
Damn!
In terms of the sales, I mean, I think it's great. It just shows that they played their cards right, especially in the beginning. I still feel like that PR stunt they pulled at E3 2013 set them up really well.
Freaking genius. It was genius.
And they capitalized on a weakness in their opponent, which is the game of PR. That's perfectly fine. And I think that they only grew upon that momentum. I think they've had very few stumbles so far. I mean, the only big ones that I can think of right now, other than like PlayStation connection issues here and there. But I think the Order was a stumble. No Man's Sky, which wasn't even fully on PlayStation. And there was one more that I was just thinking of, but it escapes me. But I mean, they've had very few stumbles. Oh, the PlayStation Pro conference, I think that was a huge stumble. But they're doing what they have to do. Let's just hope they keep the momentum, because unfortunately we've seen Sony of old rear its head a few times. And that's a little cause for concern. But if they continue to do what they do best, especially like at E3, I mean, last year's E3 presentation where it was just like game after game after game after game after game.
That was crazy.
Like when they do stuff like that and they do it to an orchestra, like, come on. They know what they're doing for the most part. So it's not a surprise that they've gotten this far, but it's great to see.
Yeah, here's a stumble though. There's been a couple more stumbles. I think Sony or PlayStation division, one of the things that they don't do well, and they do well at the same time, is innovation. So they tend to push innovation in new and exciting ways that work out for them, but there's a lot of times it doesn't. For example, the PS TV thing. Like they tried to push that thing out. That thing was so lackluster. It's like, how don't you have Netflix on this thing, fam? How don't you have the basic applications on there? Like, there was a little potential for it or whatever, but like I think they just try to capitalize on the PlayStation name too much when they're successful like this, and they just start throwing things out there, throwing little gimmicky things out there. Here's another thing that people ain't gonna like: PSVR. PSVR.
You went
I'm
there,
sorry.
didn't you?
I'm so sorry.
I've got really close to my mic. I'm that angry.
I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. I'm so sorry, but PSVR is another thing, man. They're trying to push the innovation, and I do appreciate that. That's good. That's nice and everything, but it's like we don't need it. In my opinion, we don't need it. I personally don't see the benefits in it. I personally don't see where they're going with it. So it's like when they get that successful, they become a little too innovative and they start throwing out junk. You know what I'm saying?
I think what happens is they kind of go into it with great intentions, but then don't really follow through with it. That's definitely the example is PSVR. You felt like they kind of they went into it with massively good intentions, and now they've got it. They're a bit like, well, we're kind of releasing a few games here and there, and we're releasing it again. And they've done it with PS Now, and the Vita kind of got a little bit like that as well. So it's almost like they kind of throw things out there and see what comes back, which I think is awesome. I think
that is
cool
awesome.
That they do that,
it's
but
cool.
They need to follow through with it.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. They need to follow through with it, and they need to know when to call things quits, and they need to know what actually fits the model a little better. Like through trial and error, I get it. You're gonna have trial and error, but kind of like revolve everything around the PS4, which they try to do. They do try to do that with PSVR. They try to do that, but like I don't think that's the direction like most PlayStation gamers, obviously, just from the sales and the interest and stuff. That's not where most PlayStation gamers want to go. You know what I'm saying? So like you need to cater to more of what most of us want rather than maybe 5 or even less than that percent would want. You know, when you see it ain't working, drop out, fam, and let's move on.
Maybe they are. That's what they are doing. It just probably takes quite a bit of time. Do you want to segue into what we're going to speak about later on, about how do they need a spokesperson at the front door?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You can start that off.
Because we were thinking about, Phil Spencer and
because we always think about Phil Spencer on this podcast.
I like to think about Phil.
I think about him often. Before I go to bed at night, I kneel down and I pray to Phil Spencer.
And Major Nelson, but not so much.
Major Nelson is the devil. We don't pray to him.
Yeah. No, I don't pray. But I was giving him as an example rather than I think about him all the time. Every time I turn on my Xbox, it sounds like I see him all the time. He's looking at me. He's looking at me, going, "Why did you move across? Why did you move across? Why do you not only use us for Netflix?" That sort of thing. The question we really wanted to get on was: do they need a front of house person? Do they need a host? Do they need someone that is constantly interacting with the community? Nick,
do we need a spokesperson like Phil Spencer? And I say we, like I have stock in PlayStation. Does PlayStation need a spokesperson? I mean, it does. It has spokespeople. It has not the same type of level of prowess that a Phil Spencer has, or even a Major Nelson. But you got Shu, you got Cerny when it comes to the technical things like that. They got their people. I mean, even what's Sean Layman? You even got him, but he took the place of Jack Trenton. Jack Trenton, now he was charismatic. Jack Trenton was charismatic. Yeah. He was like a spokesperson on the level of, let's say, Phil Spencer or something. Sean Layman came in and he's like real mellow. Like you rarely hear from this guy. He's not charismatic. He's just straight to the point. He's like that guy, that weird uncle at the family reunion that comes up and said that, he's got a beer in his hand. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's shaking his hips, trying to be cool. "Hey, what's up, young buck? What's happening with you?" Like he's that type of guy. He's always trying to be like real cool and trying to fit in. Like, "Yo, what's up, young people? We got this new games coming for you." He's that type of guy. So he's not real charismatic.
That's amazing. Please tell me your uncle is like that. That's just amazing.
I do got an uncle like that. Yeah, sit your ass down. But the thing is, even though we don't really have that, or Sony doesn't really have that, I don't necessarily think they need it. Because I think that the games and just everything that PlayStation has to offer speaks for itself. I don't think you need, let's say, a Flavor Flav, a hype man, because that's kind of like what Phil Spencer and some of those guys are. You know, they're like real like hype men. Like they have to hype things up. They have to keep the people engaged and stuff. Like right now, Sony's not in the position to where they really need that. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like to me like the games, just everything they're bringing, that's the hype man. That's the spokesperson. That's really all you need. Like I'm getting all the communication that I need and all the excitement I need from like trailers, you know, these different conferences, E3. I don't need someone coming out saying that, you know, this is the direction we're going, this and that, because, you know, their actions are speaking to that for me. You know, I'm never confused. I'm never confused about Sony's marketing strategy. I'm never confused about, you know, their direction or anything like that. Even with a spokesperson on the Microsoft side, I'm confused. I'm confused about their strategy constantly. I'm confused about where they're headed constantly. And these aren't shots. These are my honest opinions. I'm confused, even with a Phil Spencer trying to lay out, you know, things and communicate things. I'm confused because he kind of like, I don't know, he's not a confusing individual. He's very clear in what he says, but it's always switching things around. Like 1 minute we're doing this, 1 minute here's the vision, 1 minute we're focusing on this. Next minute, single player games aren't really that impactful. It's like, okay, what direction are we going? Next thing is like, oh, now we're looking towards service delivery of games like Destiny and things like that. That's the type of games we want to make now. Okay, when did this happen? What y'all had a board meeting and you casually just announced that? Is that really the direction we're going? Like, that's what I need to expect from Xbox going forward? Like, what's going on here? Like, so that's the thing.
It's interesting because I think if the generation was the other way around, say like Xbox was 60 million up, I don't think you'd see Phil Spencer. I think no, I don't think you would. I don't think. I think they would be more quieter, and I think you'd see PlayStation kind of coming out. I always look at it this way: like if you go to a restaurant and think you're not happy with things, you want to speak to the manager. You don't want to speak to Johnny No Stars on the till. You want to speak to the manager. So the manager comes out and assures you that everything's going to be all right and everything like that. Yeah, to me, that's what Phil is. Nick's gone. I've lost Nick.
Oh man, I'm here, man. My gut hurting right now. This man said Johnny No Star. What the freak is that?
Johnny No Stars. When you go to McDonald's, man, they have the stars on their on their name badge. That's what I mean. You know, Johnny No Stars on the front desk. Yeah, I mean, like he bless him. I really like Phil. I'm going to throw that out there. I think he's good. I think I've got a lot of time for him. But sometimes he says things and you do kind of cringe. And he has spent the last week on Twitter trying to reinforce what he meant about the whole single player game thing. And I think he made an absolute schoolboy error mentioning Zelda and Horizon. I think that, you know, that did nothing for keeping the peace.
Yeah, even though he didn't mean it like, you know, fanboys.
He didn't
mean like that. And it's clear he didn't.
Yeah, it's very clear that he didn't. But a lot of people took it completely the wrong way, and hence why he's had to spend a lot of his time on Twitter in the last week trying to kind of convince people that's not what he meant. And you know, if you're of a sane mind, you know that's not what he meant. So I think it has its pros and its cons. Kev, what do you reckon?
Oh, real quick. Here's what Shu does.
No. I want to hear what Kev's got to say.
Okay. All right, fine. Go ahead, Kev. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think there's definitely a place for a spokesperson. I think that Chris is absolutely right. Where if the tables were turned, I don't think we would be seeing, you know, Phil Spencer nearly as much. I think it would mostly be Major Nelson to push the community development, as opposed to doing like the PR hype man.
So Major Nelson is our Johnny No Stars.
I wouldn't say that. I will say Major Nelson is very talented at what he does, and I think having somebody like him is extremely crucial for Microsoft, and I think that's one of the things they do absolutely well is their community engagement. versus both Nintendo and Sony. And I think that's literally a side effect of being originally from a Japanese origin. There's a structure and a hierarchy that doesn't get crossed, especially in Nintendo. But I think there's still remnants of that in Sony as well.
Like the Yakuza.
So I
Sony's the Yakuza of gaming.
The Yakuza.
Bang, bang.
So I do think those barriers need to be broken down to a degree, and I think there does need to be a level of community engagement. And I think Sony tries to do that with like an Adam Clements on the PlayStation blog, but I mean the PlayStation blog isn't nearly enough. I mean, going through my Twitter feed, I see Major Nelson all the time. He's always out there. He may not necessarily be talking to somebody, but it's like, oh, here's Free Code Friday. We're rewarding you all for being fans of Microsoft and the Xbox. So you tune in, and that creates community engagement.
Yeah.
And I think there is absolute room for that. I think that's actually crucial going forward, especially if the tides do change for Sony in the future. Because I can guarantee you, had this been last generation, having somebody like a Phil Spencer or like a Major Nelson out there talking to people as, you know, the PlayStation 3 wasn't doing so well, that could have done a lot for consumer confidence. Having somebody in the actual inner sanctum coming out and saying, hey guys, this is what's going on right now. We can't tell you everything right now, but this is what we're working on. Or, you know, you guys have been loyal to us, so why don't we reward you outside of the PlayStation Plus model with a Free Code Friday, or, you know, setting up some type of ambassadorship or something like that. So to that token, I do think there should be somebody in the PlayStation camp that is very visible, like a Major Nelson. Mainly because, yeah, I mean, just having a face out there to communicate with that community. I mean, these road to greatness things are the road to greatness tours are great, but again, you're doing that for a few months out of the year, right? Having somebody that is ever present to sit there and say, hey, you have a concern, maybe I can address it. Or maybe you said something and I hit the like button on your tweet. That does a lot, and people take that for granted. And I know that sounds silly, but that's the power of the PR game in relation to social media right now. Somebody could you imagine if somebody put out a rumor about Scalebound coming back out and Phil Spencer liked it? Like, that would set things on fire. So that's what I'm saying. There should be somebody out there to communicate. And I understand that they're doing well right now, but that doesn't mean they're going to be doing well forever. And when that time comes, it's not then. You shouldn't be waiting until then to think about, maybe we should have a spokesperson. It should be now while things are good, so that when those times do come, at least we can say, well, they're trying. So
that makes sense.
That's just my thought process on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I was gonna say, to add to that, I mean, they do have a spokesperson. It's just like, just in my opinion, it seems like you guys' opinion as well, it's not really like a capable, charismatic spokesperson that communicates on a regular basis and things like that. But they do have them. But yeah, I get your point, Kev, that you want to have these guys out there in the front lines, regardless of whether you're doing good or bad. I get that, but my thing is that you don't need it. So, you know, why take the chance on someone saying something stupid to mess things up? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, I think they're on that token. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The game's speaking for themselves. All you really need is Shu to get on Twitter and say he's playing Bloodborne and it's all good. Like, just showing that he's out there gaming just like the rest of us. the type of things that I personally do appreciate coming from the Sony camp as well. But I do get y'all point as well that they could do a little more.
But, I mean, I definitely think that is valid, and the I guess what I would say to that is, yes, there are definitely spokespeople on the PlayStation camp. Like you said, you've got Shu talking every now and then. I mean, the man has liked one or two of my tweets, and you've got like I said, Adam Clements every now and then. But that's the thing, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality works if it isn't broken. My thought process is future proof, right? Like if you're gonna go out and buy a router, what are you gonna do? You're gonna look up the specs and see which one will last you longer and last the tides of technological change.
Right.
To me, having somebody say something dumb every once in a while, that's part of the PR game, and you have to be ready for that regardless, because to that token, Shu could come out tomorrow and say something dumb, and then they don't have a spokesperson to clean it up.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Nick, I think that's a great segue to the next thing we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Shu ain't going to come out and say something dumb.
All right, so, I mean, it's not dumb, though. It's not dumb, but no, I mean, y'all make good points when it comes to spokesperson and stuff like that. But yeah, so before we run out of time, we want to get into the meat and potatoes of the show. The title of the show is talking about PlayStation 5. And so, yeah, we've been back and forth with this thing, honestly. Chris, I'm going to give him a shout out. He has been saying for a while now that PS5 is coming out in 2018. He's been saying this for a while now. Well,
19.
Well, oh, you said 2019? Oh, you did say 2019?
Yeah. 19.
Okay.
I have a theory, and that's why it's 19.
Okay. So, Chris has been saying it for a while. 2019, PS5 is coming out, but we have not been entertaining that crazy jargon whatsoever. But recently, well-known analyst, his name is Damien Thong, and he basically is stating, that's the man. That's exactly what I was thinking. I wasn't gonna say it. But Damien Thong has stated that.
I'm gonna be real with you right now. I was definitely listening to that earlier last week. I don't know why. Had the song on repeat. It was pretty good.
Please stop, Kev. Kev, please. No, this is
Cisco is a lost treasure.
He's a lost treasure because we threw his ass away, Kev.
He threw himself away.
You should not be listening to the Thong song in 2017, Kev. Do you know that there's other things you can listen to right now, sir?
You know what? I was watching the Game Over Greggy show.
Where are they now?
On Kind of Funny, and apparently Greg Miller is friends with Cisco, so they had him on the show. So that's why I ended up listening to the Thong song again. It's actually a really good episode, so you should go check that out.
Yeah, whatever. You'd be christening that new apartment.
Greg and Cisco, both freaks. So, Damien Thong, he is a well-known analyst, and he has predicted that the PlayStation 5 is going to launch in 2018. So he has several reasons why, but the only reason why we're entertaining this really is because this is the same guy that did properly predict the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro. So we're going to go ahead and briefly talk about the good in the possibility that the PS5 will release as early as 2018 and the bad. I'm going to start with Chris because Chris got some things to say regarding this because this is going right along with his prediction, even though he's a year off. So, Chris, what do you think about this? You got some validation a little bit here, sir.
Man, I'm trying to regain my composure after you naming that guy. Just unbelievable, man. What was his name again?
The thong, Damien.
Yeah, that dude. So I was just being a bit of a theorizing a little bit. The PlayStation came out in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
The mid-gen refresh comes out in 2016. So that would indicate that maybe something's coming out in 2019. And that was just my thoughts. And I thought that they might announce it just to be kind of anti-Scorpio. Whether I think that's a good idea or not is a different story. I don't think it's a good idea. I think we kind of went a bit back and forth on Twitter the other day, and I think it's coming, but I don't think any of us particularly want it. And I think the sales figures show that, which I think is I think might have put it back a year or two.
Yeah.
And I think they went with the initial plan of the 3 year. Every 3 years they bring out a new version, or they bring out the PS4, the Pro, and then the 5. But I think maybe they've kind of gone, actually, we can still kind of milk this cow, which is the PS4, and we'll probably keep it going for another couple of years, which I think is really wise. I think
that is smart as well, because the PS4, I don't think it would be like milking a cow at this point, because the PS4 has so much more. Like,
sorry,
potential.
Man, that was the only phrase that popped into my head. So
yeah. I hear you, brother. But yeah, the PS4 has so much more potential, especially with the Pro and just the games, technology. I mean, when it comes to console game, we all know that the games just get better and better. I mean, it's not on the level of PC gaming to any degree or anything like that. But the innovation in the console world, from when it first releases to a few years down up until the end of the generation, they make leaps and bounds in console gaming. Just look at last generation with like Xbox 360, for example. Their first games came out, they were okay, but by the end of the generation, Halo 4 had came out, and we were like, how the hell are they pulling off these graphics? Or even The Last of Us on the PlayStation side. It's
for sure.
How are they pulling off these graphics right now?
Just look at Horizon. Horizon is just amazing. Like, even on the base model, it's beautiful.
It's gonna get better.
Uncharted as well, and you're like, can it get any better than this?
No, it's gonna get better. No, if history repeats itself, it's gonna get better. And I understand where you're coming from with the mid-gen refresh, because mid is the key word there. I understand, and I understand a little more of the reason why you predicted 2019. But that's the thing, though, too, for me, is like, that mid-gen refresh, I'm thinking that it's supposed to help extend the generation longer than the traditional 5 years. Not, in 5 years we bring out another system.
Hey,
that was my understanding behind it.
I'm a pro owner, so power to that, mate. I've got to be honest with you, absolute power to that. If that is the case, then I'm well happy, very happy. But like I said, that was just my theory.
Yeah, I get it. I get where you're coming from, and also Damien, the thong was coming from as well. I get where y'all are coming from with it. I do. I really do. Here's the good thing. Here's the good thing with actually releasing the PS5 in 2018, 2019, whatever the case may be. Here's the good thing. They would totally undercut the competition, just off top. Like, they would totally undercut the competition. Because let's be real here. The Scorpio, all the talk around the Scorpio has been about power, right? The power play, as I call it, is basically Microsoft saying, hey, we understand that the Xbox One was underpowered, and we feel like that was the main reason why we didn't do well. We didn't sell well. That's the main reason why we're so far behind the PS4. That's the main reason why developers are not behind us. And so we're trying to gain all that back. We want the devs back on our side. We want, the gamers back on our side. So power play is in full effect with the Scorpio. So everybody, they're all talking about power. Rarely people are even talking about games anymore, right? But here's the thing. If the PS5 was to drop, let's say, like this guy says, Damien, in 2018, the Scorpio has very limited space as the most powerful console in, what I'm saying? They have very limited timing on it, like a few months, a year. You're the most powerful console in the year, and then here comes the PS5 to blow you out the water once again. What would be the point of it, right? So that would be something I could see the good from the PlayStation side, that they would totally undercut that hype altogether. Even though I don't think that I don't think that they would, because I don't think that they need to be threatened to any degree when it comes to that. because I think that if they play their game, the way they've been doing it, I think they will continue to be successful. I'll sell the Scorpio, Xbox, whatever. I think they'll continue to do that. I don't think that Xbox gonna be able to close the gap that much whatsoever, just based on just what I'm seeing and stuff. So I don't think they need to do that, but that would be, I could see a possible strategy there.
I can see them bringing it out in line with the Kojima game with Death Stranding. So I think you're probably looking 2020. Can you imagine if that releases with that and The Last of Us? It's it's a no-brainer.
2020.
Well, yeah. Well, whenever. Whenever.
Kojima. You know how Kojima does it. He's gonna take a couple vacations. He's gonna spend a whole lot of money. That game's gonna come out in 25.
They'd only just stop selling PS4s by 2025.
Yeah, that's true.
At this rate, it's unbelievable.
So, Kev, what are some of the good and the bad, in your opinion, of them actually releasing a PS5 in 2018 or even Chris's prediction 2019?
I think if they wait until 2019, then at least that gives time, if they're using certain parts, for those to go down in price, so they'll be able to sell it at a more comparable rate. Because at that time, you also have to imagine Scorpio would have had a price cut if you're looking at it from a price comparison standpoint.
Especially if it's like Christmas 2019 as well.
Yeah. You also have to think about they'd have better accessibility to certain parts, one would hope, at that time, unless, again, they are using brand new parts that are, not available, and it drives the price up. But that it gives them an option to choose which route they want to go. So, I think that's one thing. I agree with you, Nick, full-heartedly, where I don't think this is, like, if they're playing the comparison game to Scorpio, then they're making a huge error.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessary, because you're creating a problem that didn't exist at that point.
Can I just throw my hat in that ring as well?
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, that was a sorry, guys.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to say your hat didn't have much in it. So.
yeah. I've only got a little head, so.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be that would be an error to do on their end to try to play a competition game with Microsoft, just because they're touting that they have the most powerful console. Great, all power to you.
Power to you.
They should continue to play the game that they have been playing, which has been working. And adapt when they see a problem. But I don't think trying to fix something that isn't there is necessarily the route to go. Just because at that point you're flying blind, and that is probably the worst position to put yourself in. So that's really the negative part about the whole thing. If it's more so how they've come to this conclusion, if they have come to this conclusion of releasing between 2018 2019. If it's to compete with Microsoft, then I think it's a bad move. If this was something that was already in their plan and they had a clear focus as to what they were trying to focus on, then I would be more willing to entertain the notion. But I think if they continue down the path and what they're doing right now, I think they'll be just fine.
Let's not be mistaken, though. Let's not be mistaken. They are working on the PS5 right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Mark Cerny is in the lab working on it, of course, right now. Like they said, they start
in between
the beginning of generation.
In between breaks of NAC 2. So
yeah, which ain't, let's just face it. Based on NAC 1, it ain't gonna take much to bring out NAC 2. Not much thought put into NAC, guys. Chris, I want to ask you this question before we move out. This will be the last question we got for the night. What does PS5 need to have, like as far as features and power, to be like a true definitive next gen console? Not talking about a refresh or quote unquote refresh. Like, what does this thing need to have to be a true next gen system, in your opinion?
you know, I suppose there's the whole argument of 4K gaming, 60 frames, that sort of stuff. But for me, it's load times. It needs
load times.
Yeah, man, it needs some SSD in there for its memory, so it can the load times can just improve. For me as a gamer, I mean, I've been gaming for like a long time, and I think load times are super quick these days. I remember back in the days when I used to load games up on the PC, and you could go out and play for like 2 or 3 hours, and you come back and the game's just about loaded. So I mean, that's for me. I think load times, I think for the modern game has got to be much better. I mean, you look at, there are some games that really just that need it big time. Need it, you know, like, you know, and we're big Witcher fans, so you know, that game, if that game could load like in like split seconds, I mean, that would be amazing.
They always promise better load times every generation. We never, I mean, we get a little bit, but there's more games that take forever to. Yeah, exactly. That, so there's the contrast there. So they're like, oh yeah, the load time's gonna be much faster, but they're basing it off of the games that are out that current generation. They're not thinking like, oh, games gonna get bigger. So the load times are pretty much the same or worse every generation. So that would be dope. Actually keep that promise, and we have basically no load times. That'd be great. What else? I mean, what else you think this thing needs?
I don't know, like maybe an update on the controller. I know some of the guys in the chat have been saying new controller. I agree with that. I think the thumbsticks need to change for sure. Most of the time I like the controller, but like I said, I think the thumbsticks need to change. I think it needs to have, you know, a couple of really decent features. I mean, I think we all know the 4K stuff as well. I doubt it's going to ever really be whisper quiet, but that might be a nice thing to have as well. But yeah, no, that for me, that's what comes to mind.
Okay, that's good stuff. Good stuff. I definitely down with, especially the load time stuff. The SSD, powerful SSD in there. Kev, you're the tech savvy, smart one. What specific specs? Let's get to the Mark Cerny details, Kev. Let's get down to these Mark Cerny checkerboard rendering details, sir. What does this thing have to have in it to be, you know, truly next gen, truly the most powerful console ever created?
I mean, honestly, I think we're way too early to tell. I am hesitant to even give a reaction, only because tech can change so quickly, and between now and then, we could see a complete change in how we consume media or how we consume games. So that could completely change what we should be expecting. I think the only thing that I would echo is the controller. And I say that mainly because of the advent of like a scuff gaming, where they're modding these controllers to fit a pro scene, and you've seen Microsoft adapt and say, hey, here's our version of a premium controller that's at a comparable price to a scuff, if not less expensive. So I think all the way around, out of the box, it shouldn't be a premium option, I don't think, at this point. But I do think there should be an option to have, you know, in your controller, you should be able to, out of the box, it comes with the ability to customize your analog sticks. Maybe that just means they have two default ones, like a concave and a domed regular height stick. And maybe that means paddles on the back, because everybody who's running a scuff now it's because of the paddles. That seems to be quite a revolutionary change in the way people game using a controller. So I think that should be adapted. And then if you want to have a premium model, then, you know, you have the ability to switch out your paddles and switch every combination of your controller every which way. It should be modular. But at the very least, I do think the controller needs to evolve, because it seems as though clearly Scuff saw an opportunity for that and has seized a market on that, and the first-party manufacturers should adapt to that as well. Outside of that, I couldn't really say. I mean, other than maybe better usage of streaming technology in your console, considering that's a big thing now that has happened since these consoles came out. I mean, everybody now has the ability to stream on Twitch or YouTube or whatever platform you choose. So having a better streamlined ability to do that and have customization within it, that would be great. And then lastly, for me, would be, working with other third parties to make sure that making sure that products are working properly across the board, so that you don't have to find some weird back channel to get something to work. So, for example, an Astro headset, making sure that you have the ability to, it's literally just plugging the controller in, and then you're able to not only stream on Twitch, but talk to your in-game chat on your PlayStation, and talking to your viewers and things like that, instead of having to get this chat cable and that cable and this adapter in order to plug them all together and rig something together that will simulate that. I think just easing the user experience, since that's what the main draw to console gaming is. It's supposed to be ease of use, as opposed to playing on a PC.
Maybe a couple extra USB ports to go along with that as well.
Yeah.
I think that's one.
Yeah, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, if you're talking tech and specs, I honestly couldn't tell you, because things can drastically change in the next few years.
No, I agree. I was messing with you with that Mark Cerny level type of stuff.
I reckon if they can kind of stick something that like a Titan X or a 1080i graphics card in there, which is, if you want to get into the teraflops argument, is about 11 teraflops.
Is that future-proof type stuff? I think they need to be more.
Yeah, that's the Nvidia's big bad boy, which is kind of 11, 12 kind of teraflops, which can kind of, they're trying to hit 8K, which is just mind-boggling. But yeah,
we's console peasants. We just not getting used to 1080p.
No. Do you know what? I think it's more of a case of us TV-sized peasants. I think if your TV's over 60 inches, then 8K is something for you, and even 4K. I think right now, as far as much more than that.
Yeah, as far as right now, I think right now, because when you talk about 4K and all that stuff, right now it's just a testing ground. Both PlayStation and Xbox, this is the testing ground. This is where you kind of test the waters to see. I think by next generation, since we're talking about the PS5, they would have mastered 4K, 4K 60, games. And also, I think they need to make it future-proof, more future-proof, and closer to, where PC is. Because back in the day, consoles and PC, they weren't that far off like they are now. Like, PC has grown leaps and bounds and basically leaving console out to drown with no safety net, not even trying to bring the boat by and pick them up and put them in the lifeboat, save their life, and nothing. Like the PC is basically just leaving consoles behind when it comes to performance and overall in general. So I think, with the next iteration of PlayStation, if you're talking about power and features and things like that, they need to get like more closer to the PC. And also what I like to see this next generation is PlayStation to take a stand and get rid of the subscription model, or at least change it in such a way to where it's not so invasive. Because I'm just comparing a lot of things to PC right now, honestly, because PC is that constant longevity, next gen type of platform, right? And console gaming, like Kev said, is supposed to be ease of use. That's the main appeal to it. But if they could combine ease of use with that future-proof freedom that you get in PC gaming, I think the PS5 would be like an amazing, really true next generation system. Like, keep the same formula like you're using right now, which is that 360 formula of marketing and everything like that. But enhance that 3 times, and then start by learning from how PC does it, and integrate all that, but still keep that same ease of use feel to it. I don't know how they would do that, but that's how I would envision like a PS5, to be, a true next gen, truly something truly different. Like between this past gen and this gen, arguably there wasn't much of a leap originally. The next gen, there needs to be a big leap, like a true leap. There needs to be like, the features we have right now. That's the other thing. The features we have right now, we need to definitely have these plus more. The PS4 drop, it was bare bones. It didn't even have the stuff that the PS3 had. We need to have everything we have now on top of that. And last but not least, Sony, you best not release no PS5 without backwards compatibility. This thing has to be fully backwards compatible. It has to be able to play all of our PS4 games, digital, physical, whatever the case may be, easy as pie. Like you pop in the disc, or if we're still using disc by then, we pop in the disc, we can play our PS4 games like easy. Like it needs to be seamless. We need to keep this thing in the family. So that's what I would like my PS5 to fly around the room too. I would like for it to talk to me as well in the voice of any female character that I want. Okay, that's it.
I'll tell you what Sony are going to do. They're going to make it instead of discs, we're going to have mini discs. They're going to try and bring back the mini disc.
Oh God! Shout out to the UMD disc. You remember that from the PSP?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I will do is, talking of shout outs, I will shout out to Entertainment Wizard, who's made a great point that the PlayStation 25th anniversary is in 2020. That is a shout for PS5. There you go. So I think that's
yeah. I think the 2019 honestly prediction. I think your prediction may be more on point than the analyst. Honestly, I really just to clear this up, because I know everybody sees the title and I'm like, there's no way. We're not agreeing that it's dropping in 2018. We're just stating, that this analyst who has been right. I mean, just to reiterate, he was right about the PS4 Slim. He was right about the Pro. So he could be right about this, but I think he's wrong. I think more or less, I'm hoping it won't drop until 2020. Honestly, that's me being selfish. But I could see 2019 before 2018. Honestly. So yeah. Any other? Yeah, we shall see, Chris, if you're right or not.
We shall see. Glad all right, so let's put it that way.
We're not gonna bet. We ain't gonna bet money on this.
No.
Like Kev Hart said, bet money on it. Bet money. I bet you won't bet money on this.
That's actually a really good impression.
Pretty good.
I'm not saying the word that he normally would say. Bet money. All right, so all fun and games aside, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get out of here. We are a little past the time, but it's definitely great discussion. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure you guys hit that like button for us on the way out. We really do appreciate that. So let's do our outros right quick. Let's go with my man, the British Beef, man. What's good with you? You sleeping over there or not?
No, I'm still awake. Yes, thanks guys. Another great chat. Thanks out to the live chat as well. Some interesting comments, some good stuff. Guys, just keep it gaming. Just keep it real.
That's what's up. Keep it real in the hood. Kev, go ahead and do your outro, my man.
Thanks everybody for coming out. I also want to make a quick correction. I think I was saying Adam Clements, and it's Ryan Clements, which only further backed my point that we never see anybody on the Sony side. So hence why I probably
didn't even know the man's name. Yeah.
So I got his last name right, but couldn't pick him out of a lineup. So again, it's a problem. You can follow me on Twitter at DarkTagger, and you can follow Trophy Life at TrophyLife_pod.
That's what's up. And everybody listening right now and then later on at the sound of my voice, let us know what you think about the podcast in the comments below. And then also let us know what features you feel like the PS5 should have. And if you feel like it's going to release in 2018 versus 2019, and tell us the pros and cons in the comments. We'll definitely be checking those comments and responding to you guys. You know what I'm saying? But this is Nicodemus. This is Trophy Life episode, not Elephant. I'm about to say Elephant 9. This is Trophy Life episode 9. And we appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And make sure you check back with us. We will be coming back not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, unless we decide to surprise you guys again. But be on the lookout for us Tuesday nights right here on this channel. Make sure you guys always tune in for that PlayStation goodness mixed with a little bit of that Xbox goodness as well, because we all love Xbox over here just as much. And Nintendo. We love Xbox, we love Nintendo, we love PC. You know, we just love everything over here, guys. Everything. We never have anything bad to say about anything. With that being said, PlayStation is the best station, and we are the best nation. Peace out, everybody.